Okay, so this is gonna be the full review for chapter 56 in Ragnarok. So obviously, this is the English version, and obviously this kind of is a spoiler warning if you not have read the chapter yet, and so on. Yeah. So we know is that Hades and Shishongdis are fighting round 7, and we see that Shishongdi is sitting in the VIP room, and he with Ares and Hermes, and obviously Ares want to throw him out because he's not a guard. He's intruding on the private space, and Shishongdi throws Hades flat on the ground. Lots of funny scene with with Ares. One is that she really throws him. The other one is when the assistants to Brunhilde smash up the door, and he stands behind the door, and he gets his face smashed of the doors. Um, yeah, yeah. So then Shishwandi enters the arena. All of the other first emperors of different dynasties, the Ming, the Han, the Shu, Wei, um, is there to hold up a big carpet that Shishwandi goes down from to the arena, because Shishwandi obviously is the king of all of them. He is the first emperor that unified different kingdoms to be China, and so on. So he is the creator of China, the start of what we see today as China. He's the creator of that. So then we go to Hades, and Hades goes in the tunnel to the arena, and then he meets Poseidon's butler. You can say, I think, butler. And obviously his butler very angry because his master Poseidon was killed in a battle against Sasaki. So obviously he wants to have Hades help. He wants Hades to takes Poseidon's trident, like the part of the trident, as to kill with the enemy as revenge for his dead master. And obviously, first Hades tells him that Poseidon is not the person to ask other people for revenge, and then obviously the butler obviously apologized because he talked with Hades, the king of the underworld, uh, and so on. So the interesting thing here with this, just that little part, is that we don't see Hades use Poseidon's trident, like the spikes, the three, because his weapon is only two. Poseidon have three spikes on the trident. That we see on the trident, that we see Poseidon's like wing thing on the shaft, like the two that we see, that is Poseidon. So this is just my speculation. My speculation here is that one of Hades' ability is that he can take a, ability from a dead person to his power and to his weapon. For example, so when he puts on Poseidon's part of Poseidon's trident on his double spear, he gonna get the ability that Poseidon have, mixed with obviously with his own power that Hades also naturally have. So obviously Hades is the lord of the underworld. So obviously he gonna control something that is connecting with the dead, or the dead spirit of the dead. He gonna control in some ways. So then maybe his trump card will be that he can summon um, maybe Cerberus, for example, as his trump card, that he can use some kind of with Cerberus. But the thing here is that we already see a ability with Cerberus when Hercules fight against Jack the Ripper. So I don't think they would do too. Um, maybe he's gonna bring up something with Cerberus that, or the other monster that he can bring up maybe instead of Cerberus is Typhon, and that is obviously the king of the monsters in Greek mythology, the Typhon, and yeah, king of the father. Sorry, the father of monster is Typhon, and he was created from the Titans as their final attempt to take back the power from the Olympians, because Machany between the Titan and the Olympians, the old gods and like the new gods, and so on. So that is a possibility that his final one of his final trump card for Hades will be that he brings up not something to do with Typhon. Maybe he's not gonna bring up the big guy up to the arena. Maybe he's gonna have something that we know. Okay, this is from Typhon. Something, some ability, something that connects with Typhon in some way. Um, so that is just my speculation for Hades' ability in the fight. Remember, this is just the first round. Even this round have not even yet started. Just the beginning of the first round. This chapter. So obviously we're gonna get 3 or 4 more chapters. That to the then we so probably going to so obviously to the final round. So the 4th chapter is the final round. The 4th chapter, and so we and then obviously before that we see also interesting thing we see with Shishon D is that he blocks not really blocks, but he absorb Hades' whirlwind's attack, and he used it against him, like almost like a Aikido kind of style. When like instead of blocking, he waits till the attacks come close to him, and then he just turns it around on his back to the person that used the attack, like reverse attack, almost like so that is just so that is my speculation here obviously is that because obviously all of the humans that fight against the Guardian Ragnar always get each own Valkyrie that helps them, and my speculation here that the 10 sisters ability is to absorb attacks and use them throw them back to the opponent that used the attack first. So that is one ability of his of Shishwangi's metal arms weapon from the Valkyrie. Uh, so then and then we see that Shishendi use a kind of a pentagram ritual, and they call something he called the sword, the hilt, the sword, the hillebard, the crossbow, and the spear. Obviously, the dagger axe, the spikes, and obviously the crossbow. Obviously, is famous for that area in China. So here, and this is the interesting thing because the Terracotta Army, they have found on the Terracotta Army their weapon is the hillebard, the crossbow, the spear, and obviously the generals have swords, but the dagger axe. So my speculation here is that Shishondi's calling for his Terracotta Army, so he can bring up his Terracotta Army to fight for him in some way. Obviously, he don't gonna bring up the full army on the arena. Obviously not. Obviously, but he gonna do something. One thing can be that he get weapons from them. For example, that he can use crossbow. That's one ability, and the second one that he can use the dagger axe. The third ability is that he used the spear. But obviously, the dagger axe and the spear almost is very similar. The biggest difference is obviously with the dagger axe is that you can cut with it, and it's like a hillebard. You can use it a different way. So that is a possibility because it's. But in the same way, if he used that ability, it's going to be too similar to Buddha's ability when Buddha fight against High June, because Buddha actually transformed his weapon to his weapon to different other weapons. So the only thing I think he just gonna sum up something about terracotta warriors, but not something about them. Something brings up that gives him some kind of speed boost or like range attack, something like that. Um, because we have not yet seen in Reckoning of Ragnarok anybody using range attack. Almost all of the other fights in Reckoning of Ragnarok are close fight, like so nobody haven't used some kind of bows or crossbow or javelin or any other throwing weapon yet. So that is maybe Shishon-D will use, that he can use he's gonna bring up some kind of crossbow that he can use for long range. So that is a possibility. Then means that Shishon-D will be the first guy that used long range weapon in Reckoning of Ragnarok. Yeah. So something with terracotta, something with the terracotta army, I think he will have to his advantage when he fights, and so that is his own ability, and the absorption to Hades' attack is from the Valkyrie. So I think Shishon-D is one of the humans that have a natural ability that have nothing to do with his weapon. For example, as Adam, with his copy eyes, that when he looks at something with his eye, he can copy that movement and use it himself. And I think the same thing for Shishon-D, that he can have an ability that is only Shishon-D can do, so have nothing to do with his Valkyrie weapon. This is what I think. I think the chapter was really good. Really look forward to the next chapter. I don't know yet when the next chapter will be out, but probably gonna take some time for the next chapter. Maybe for the now is probably November, so maybe in not. I don't think in December, but the months after December, I think the next chapter will be out. Chapter 60. Chapter 63. So no, sorry, yeah, I totally wrong there. Sorry for that. Chapter 67, I think, will be out after Christmas, and then obviously we get very close to next year, and with them we're obviously gonna close to season 2 for Reckoning of Ragnarok. So they obviously probably gonna do something very special somewhere around Christmas, but they probably don't gonna release season 2, but they're probably gonna release season 2 in the beginning or in the middle of the next year. Yeah. I think this, but also I really hope that Hades have many different ability from Poseidon. I really hope that it's not gonna be used just the attack we don't have yet seen from Poseidon. I really hope that Hades gonna be a totally different fighter. That the only thing they have similar is maybe the speed of the spear thrust, but all of the other ability, I really hope that Hades is totally different with his ability, because obviously I obviously prefer Shishon-D, so I really hope that Shishon-D wins. But with all of the victories so far for humans, I think something will happen that maybe makes so that Hades wins. It absolutely is absolutely a possibility for Shishon-D to win, but I don't think they're gonna be that lucky that Shishon-D defeats Hades. I think that Hades will win, and then obviously, but obviously they're gonna be a very cool fight, very cool to see all of their different abilities. yeah, so it's gonna be really cool. But this chapter is probably one so far, the best. Um, yeah. Okay.